Okay, so we're gonna start the December 30th, 2024 select board meeting. Do we have any amendments to the agenda tonight?
Don't think so.
Seeing none. Move on to minutes of the previous meeting. December 9th.
I'll move we approve the minutes.
So here's an interesting one. I wasn't at that meeting.
He can second.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
And two is still
okay. I
a
just
majority.
thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'll have to abstain from that, but.
so if we have no comments on the December 9th agenda. All in favor of approving the minutes?
One abstain.
We have 2 for and 1 abstain. Moving on to public comments on items not on the agenda. We have any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Unfinished business, 5A, staff appointment interim town clerk. So what we have prepared here. Emma is moving on to another venture, and we are looking to appoint Michelle Cameron as interim town clerk
And registrar.
and register.
I will move to appoint Michelle Cameron as interim town clerk and interim register for the town of Newcastle.
With sadness, I will second. No, no, it's all good. It's, we're just moving stuff around. right?
We're shifting.
And
We'll miss
now
out.
you're back in that
I'm
role.
back
For what?
in the saddle.
Is it the second now or the third time
It's the second since I've been back this.
that you've been?
Happy to do it.
Well, thank you.
So all in favor of appointing Michelle Cameron as interim town clerk and interim register for the town of Newcastle? 3, no.
Sad to see him again.
Yeah.
That sounds like she's got a good opportunity.
5B, deed and easements for MO13 L.
I don't know if you guys saw there was an updated deed.
Mhm.
It's online.
So, this. We have what I gathered on this was we have a easement proposed to us, utility easement for 10 Mills Road. That is would be the town granting easement, and there's the person that could probably describe it a lot
And the
better than
rock
me.
should be on.
Yeah, well, it's two easements.
Yep, there's an easement, a utility easement that the town would be granting. Yeah,
Perfect timing, good time.
So one is the easement for the utility.
Yeah,
and
and
The
the
other
other
is
one
the easement
would be
from
the
10
right
Mills Road
to
to
the
the
town
town
for,
to widen that access. Yep.
Did Kevin send around the second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The version, okay,
And I have it here.
okay.
I didn't. Seemed pretty straightforward to me as far as what was written up that he sent out. Looks like it's granting a 20-foot wide utility easement on the newly acquired property, but from the town to 10 Mills Road. And then there would be a I guess it would be
Right of way.
a right of way easement of 20 feet that abuts that. on 10 Mills Road. So the town can still,
Can you
Have
explain
access.
that other easement that you're doing?
Well, the property owner, Rob Nelson, offered to give the town, sorry if I just jump in here, tell me if I get it
And
wrong.
I probably should have raised my hand. I
sorry.
didn't know if you guys
No,
were
no,
gonna
it's-
vote on it.
Yeah, we are gonna vote on it, I think. The idea was that, the 20-foot right of way that exists on a parcel that the town just acquired isn't technically wide enough for basically anything. Access of any kind. So in order to accommodate the CMP utility easement that he is requesting and grant the town a wider access to have a wider access to that parcel. It's gonna be a.
So is that one that he's deeding, is that like on his driveway up through or beside?
It's,
No.
it's directly next to the
So
20
the
foot.
town will still have to pay the $10,000 to move the hydrant in order to make that accessible up to the thing.
When and if we ever do, it's a question I don't know. So in other words, he's gonna grant us a right of way of 20 feet, basically to the, what direction is that? Towards,
towards his property.
to the west.
Yep.
Yeah.
To augment the 20 feet.
See, I thought he
that
might
we've got.
do on the easement on the south where he already has a driveway, and then the town wouldn't have to pay to move that fire hydrant, is what I was thinking, but apparently that's not what you guys were thinking.
Well, there wouldn't be anything preventing that in the future, as being a possible way to go. Also, it depends on if the town actually were to do something like, let's say we want to put a new town hall up there. Right, then you could actually just, condemn and take that driveway if you wanted to. So there are, some different options there. Not that I want to, freak anybody out by saying condemn and take. But,
Wasn't there a grant or something that they got that they received to buy that property, the town?
no, it went for tax foreclosure.
I understand that, but they would.
It was
They were
paid, it was
getting-
paid for through
Oh,
a grant through the
through-
county.
Oh, okay,
Right.
For
okay,
housing.
that I didn't know.
So that being said.
Yeah.
Then why wouldn't you trade that for he's got a driveway down to the other end that would be accessible to that property. That would be where, and then, like I said, the town wouldn't have to pay to move that hydrant where, and they've got to do something with that now that that the town has a grant. Is that correct? I mean, the grant paid for the property.
Yeah, so the grant paid to actually develop a plan for the property.
Okay,
That doesn't actually include developing the property. Because the grant was only for
It was
$100K
for the purchase.
And the appraisal.
and the appraisal, right?
They don't have to put in a driveway now.
Yeah, there's no plans to actually do anything on that lot at the moment. It's still in the very, very preliminary stages. And
I'm just asking
Yeah.
that, why wouldn't the town do something now to protect themselves so that they would have access without moving that fire hydrant?
the question, I don't know.
That's just a question I have.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. Sky's the limit on that hydrant. To be honest with you, who knows what's gonna happen? It could be moved because of the VPI project. Who knows? I think there's a lot of balls in the air right now about that, but I can say having a 40 feet wide,
It's 50, is what's in that.
what?
No, sorry, that's the old one.
That's the old.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
thought I had gone to the new one.
That's okay.
yeah, no, so.
Having the 20 plus the 20
It's 40.
gives us a wider entrance than I think we even have on the south side.
Yeah.
For getting emergency vehicles and whatever in and out of there.
Is that 20 feet gonna
We-
be right up against those buildings?
No, believe it or not, it'll be, there's 20 feet, so from the edge of your lot, there's 20 feet over.
right,
that goes, connects to the lot in the back.
Yeah.
And then we'd have, if we approve this, another 20 feet onto that. To the
that's
side.
gonna be real close to the building.
And then I think there's still, no, because it's within the setbacks. So, and I think the setbacks, I can't remember exactly, but there's 10, 15 feet.
I'm just trying to protect the town, that's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is probably, other than the hydrant. This is probably the best way to go because it gives us the widest amount of access. To get into that back lot. I mean,
It also, just reading through this, it says if the lot 1A and 1B were going to utilize that road, also that the cost would be split depending on how many,
Units.
Right.
what the split of the units is.
Right.
If he has his amount of units, and then if the town had, or whomever does the development has an equal amount of units, then it's split 50-50 on the maintenance cost of that drive.
Which would make it the only town road in Newcastle where there's a shared private pay toward it.
Mhm.
And so that's distinctive. I mean, sometimes that happens in towns and cities. You have, roads where, someone wants to develop something and part of it is a shared hit on the taxes on that, but, in this case, it's actually a landowner covenant that he would come up with some of the money for it.
we thought we had that situation next to the standard, you remember?
No, I know we didn't have that, but I said it wasn't enough to worry about.
There were parties that were convinced it wasn't.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started on the standard.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So the town's not gonna have to pay that grant back because it's not being used as applied for the grant. Is
No,
that
no, no.
correct?
We're using it as it was applied, absolutely.
How is it applied for? What is?
For
it?
the purchase.
For the purchase of the property
Mhm.
to just sit there.
There's a second grant. I think there's the second, I can't remember what the name of it was. That one was through the federal government, state government, no, state government.
Bless you.
It was through the state government, and that was the joint with Dan Muscata.
Yeah, yes, that's through, I think that's through the DECD.
Mhm.
That we heard about. But I can't remember exactly what the news was. We applied for a grant jointly with Darren Scotta about this idea of developing housing for
First responders.
first responders, EMS personnel, teachers,
So they don't give us a time on that?
Believe it or not, the grant, the way that the grant that we received to purchase the land was not written with a you must build by 10 years or 5 years. It wasn't written that way. It was you got to have a plan and that was basically it.
And then it was foreclosed on not purchased.
And it was foreclosed on not purchased. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I get the foreclosed part, but still, there was grant money that the town received.
Right, we
Yeah.
had to get an appraisal and that covered a lot of the appraisal on getting.
Mhm. And the reimbursement on the difference between the appraised value.
Yeah.
And the back taxes.
So did it get surveyed? So that you know exactly what the town has?
It didn't get surveyed. It got appraised.
Is the town gonna survey that piece?
I believe that would probably,
As part of the
At some
Plan.
the
point.
planning portion of that.
Yeah.
That's one of your first steps when you're coming up with a plan, I would imagine, is to get it surveyed, know where your lines are and stuff before you start drawing stuff up.
But no, there has not been a survey yet. There hasn't needed to be a survey yet. It's still too early. Just the bank appraisal.
So easements can be signed and stuff without.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, knowing exactly where stuff is.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
Sounds like a shot in the dark for me.
Oh, no. I mean, unfortunately, I've had many conversations with this gentleman here about the craziness of deed language. And how funky it can get. My own personal deed is recorded as from the old oak tree. It was written like 200 years ago. There's no old oak tree there anymore. God knows where it is.
But you're not applying for a grant and having to pay anything back or.
No,
Or
and they
any
didn't,
kind of
they
you know
didn't-
what I'm saying, just,
yeah, but they didn't require a survey, so we didn't do one yet. We will get to it. I'm looking at the old one. I'm looking at the old one.
Yeah, if you haven't
Yeah, I got.
gotten out of
I
the
got-
agenda.
this is 215, right?
It's not sort of, yeah, this is.
So
These are my-
I don't really have any, seems pretty much straightforward to me.
You guys know what the insurance is about?
Tonight.
She's in
Oh, she's back
route.
tonight.
Okay.
So, what I might ask is, I always like having everybody sign these. But what I may do is you could just vote to authorize her to sign it. Cause I always like to have the first selectman
She
sign.
was gonna come tomorrow. to call. If it-
Perfect.
If it passed.
Okay. Do you just authorize her to sign and then she's the one that's to be notarized? Yeah, if you wanna do it that way, so
Whatever works.
that works.
I mean, I think this is actually quite generous. And it solves two problems at once. Doing it this way.
I think both sides are being pretty generous. to
That's
each
what I
other.
mean.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, I'm not sure you'd get power to there.
Oh, there's other ways, but this solves the town's interest of having access.
Yeah.
To the back lot that we would need.
Yeah.
Um,
Suppose you could go under the road with utilities if you wanted to,
there's other.
but even that, see. you know. Anyway,
That is not our problem,
yeah, no, true.
but 20 feet isn't wide enough for us to put in emergency vehicle access
Right,
roadway. Public road.
And you add a pole and an anchor to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So doing it this way, keeping the pole and the anchor apart on one side of the now 40 feet. Gets us more than enough for 2 lanes of travel.
What did you need for 2 lanes?
We just reduced it. No, we reduced the minimum right of way width. From 50 to 30. Oh God, I can't remember exactly. It was 32 or
That rings a bell.
yeah, I think it's 32.
it might have been
Yeah.
32, 6 with 2. And 211 travelways and then sidewalks or something like that. So there would be enough room, 40 feet even with a pole and an anchor gives us enough room to get a lane in each direction and sidewalks on either side. And I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
So who's doing the screening?
Well, it would be if something gets built. On the right of way, it would be the town, because that is your direct abutter,
Right.
right?
So when those buildings go up, when they come in. There has to be screening between my property and. Rob's property.
So that would go between the buildings and the right of way, soon.
Yeah, to be
But I
honest with you,
noticed that
I
he
don't know the
was,
specifics.
he was
of that.
asking the town to put the screening on the town property.
Where are you getting the
I saw that in the
regulation that it's a requirement?
requirement is in our code. There has to be screening. Doesn't say what screening, but it has to be screening between the properties, I believe, yeah.
I don't think that's correct in that zone, but
To be honest with you, I don't know, but that's sort of outside the scope of what we're talking about anyway. Follow up with the town planner. Because he can pull the approvals and find out exactly for you.
I'm pretty sure on the building, it has to be screening.
Check with him, he'd know. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. So you can't tell me whether it's on, the screen is gonna be on the town property or Rob's property.
Not right now, no,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I reviewed the subdivision plan, but I didn't review the actual building permit, so I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense if he knows, if he's gonna be putting screening in, and he puts it right. He puts it at the edge of his property, and there's a right of way in place. You are opening yourself up to having to remove that and then move it. Either work something out with the town to put it on their side or put it on your side outside of the right of way, because if the town decides they want to use that right of way, then that screen would go away and you have to reestablish the screen. So
Yeah, but at this point. This is all speculation.
that's far down the road,
It's,
but
the best course of action would be to talk to the town planner if you got a question about that. Because he can review it, find out exactly for you. Going off our memories is not probably the healthiest.
we got no other questions on this. I don't know if Rob had anything he wanted to point out, or yeah, I haven't heard him say anything yet, so.
I just, can you, am I,
Is the volume up?
hello?
Oh,
Can you
is the
hear me?
volume on the TV up?
I've been talking most of this whole.
It
I
looks
unmuted
like you
myself.
can talk to us. The little microphone icon is going up and down.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3.
You there, Rob?
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3.
poor guy has COVID, so.
Does he?
Test 1, 2,
There he
3.
Oh, there
There
he
he
is.
is.
Hello, can you hear me?
video, but no audio.
No audio.
Video, but no audio. Okay.
Is a
Um,
microphone set up?
it is, I did the test and it said
No.
everything was happy.
Can't hear you.
Ah, it claims that it, let me just test
Yeah, use the chat. You might be able to.
my, yes, 1, 2, 3.
communicate that way.
My test, the test works great in,
No,
Zoom.
you're talking, Rob, and we can't hear you.
Huh.
I don't think he knows that.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you.
You can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Okay, interesting. I guess I have nothing to add. Let me, hang on.
You gotta love technology.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Send your phone number. And just call.
Well,
me
he
try-
texted me and said, I can hear you.
yeah,
Yeah, you can hear us.
You can hear
Yeah.
us.
We can't
Yes.
hear him.
Yeah,
let me
but we,
try.
We
yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
him muted.
Huh?
We don't have him muted.
No, it would have popped up with a little microphone symbol on his video with a
Ben,
like
if you've got
cross.
his number right there, just call him on the phone.
Try a
You
different,
can get audio through the phone.
Yeah.
Different-
Yeah, I got
different
I got
microphone?
All right.
I can't fix his computer for him.
When you
use your phones.
okay.
You're on the speaker.
Rob Nelson.
It's
Mhm.
showing audio.
There we go.
Oh, that's weird. Strange.
We turned to him that we're trying to call.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Can you
hear me?
Oh, no.
Oh, I've got too many different things here. Hang on,
Got
I'm
AirPod
going
in.
to turn.
Hey, if you can hear us, answer your phone.
I know,
Put you on
I
speaker.
mean,
Oh, well, we just lost his video now, so.
okay. can hear you on the phone.
There, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. So, basically, I think as has been described, the idea is this is pretty much reciprocal easements. We each 10 Mills Road, Newcastle LLC, and the town each have 20-foot strips that aren't very functional. Combined, they make a lot of things possible. And I think that when I designed the project, I kept that 20-foot strip with this idea in mind that it would enable, fortuitously, the town ended up with that lot, and that enables the town to get back there. So I think it adds a lot of value for both parties. The one piece that we don't have yet is the easement request from CMP. I spoke with someone today who said they're preparing that, so you'll be seeing that hopefully shortly.
Okay.
As to Louis' question about screening, as I remember, the permit doesn't require screening.
Alright.
But my intent
Hey, Rob,
is, oh,
we actually got you on,
I figured it out.
yep, we had
Oh.
the wrong input.
Sorry
set,
about
so
that.
now
Okay.
I'm gonna hang up because we got you.
yep, we got an echo here. I'm gonna hang up.
Goodbye.
My bad.
Okay. So you can still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. In answer to Louis' question, I don't believe that the permit requires screening. I do plan on providing screening between the buildings and his property. I have suggested to Kevin that if the town approves this easement, that I would use my budget to put the screening on the line between the town's property and Louis' property, if that works for the town. Because I definitely want to provide some protection to my neighbor.
Okay, can you still hear us?
Yes.
Ah, wonderful. Okay. We're cooking with grease, as my old math teacher would say. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you. I think those details, again, are sort of outside the scope of what we're dealing
Right.
with now, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're just looking at what if we're gonna grant or we're gonna grant our easement and you can in turn give us an easement for the road. But that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Yeah, I think so too.
One thing I'll add is that in doing like the water for my project at 16 Mills Road, we basically put a T in the water line. So there's a new water main within that 10-foot strip that the town would have a utility easement from me to make it easy to get water back behind. So I think that there's been thought involved in enabling things in the future. So I think this all fits together very nicely.
That, you said that already went in?
Correct.
That T? Oh.
Yep.
That's fantastic. I love it when people think ahead.
So
I try.
Oh, it's great. All right.
We have no other comments. I would move this to.
What is the motion?
See if we have a motion to approve and sign the easement.
If you do, what I would do is I would do a motion, to approve the granting of the easement. And empower the first selectman to execute the easement.
Both easements? No,
Well,
just the one
Just the
easement.
one.
Just the
Yeah,
one.
He's got to grant the other one.
And the CMP easement is something else.
CMP easement's totally different.
Then I will make that motion.
Okay. So moved.
I will
Michelle, you
second.
need wording?
Second. that.
Yep, all in favor?
All right,
Passes through now.
that works. Awesome. Thank you, Rob.
Yep, well, thank you. I think this is great, working together.
Have a good one, and I hope you
You
feel
too.
better.
Thanks.
Moving on to new business 6A, paid family medical leave. So this is a new law that is being enacted on January 1? No, April 1. April 1, 2025. So, but the withholding has to start,
In a few- 2 days. I haven't
In
done
January
payroll
1.
yet.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Now, if you have less than 15 employees, you don't have to do anything with that. Is that
You do
correct?
have to.
It's a 0.5% instead of.
A
you
half
have
percent?
instead of 1% if it's over 15.
Now, if you have medical leave anyways, does the town pay medical leave?
Not to my knowledge.
No. Our personnel policy does a joint,
Or does
We
it?
can-
what do we call it? Earn time?
Yeah, you can accrue so much earned time so that if you were out and you
Yeah.
have it, you can use it, or you can go on unpaid family medical leave right now.
Right.
But the new law is something different, which will go through the state, but does either the town pays or pays part and the employees pay part, and that's what Kevin wanted voted on, so
Right.
that I know how to execute that.
Right. Yeah, so we don't have like sick pay days. We just have straight earn time. And you earn a certain amount of paid earned time per pay period. And you use that if you're sick or you want to go on vacation or whatever. It's one pool. This is in addition.
Okay, so under 15 employees, you have to pay a certain
Half a
percentage, a 0.5% of their wage, or how does that work?
Or, yeah, it's
Yep.
put into a
Yep. It's
separate.
the gross.
Yeah.
Gross earnings, yeah. But we're being advised that we really should consider,
The 1%, seeing as I don't know if they got a defined answer.
I talked to the deputy, that's the deputy of the program from the state, and he said clear as mud when I asked about the fire department because they're volunteer. And he said, use your best judgment. And I said, I'm calling you because I don't have a best judgment. And he said, I'm just gonna tell you to use your best judgment. I'd rather, looking at it, we don't want to be fined as well. So, and we may have to add the board in because it's
Right, we
described
are-
right now that if you don't expect pay as a volunteer, we don't have to count it. But if there's pay expected, then we do.
I mean, when we file our taxes, we have to file as employees.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So therefore, we're employees. So there's 5 of us here. Is the planning board the same?
no,
No,
Okay.
plan where does it draw
Planning
salary?
board doesn't-
Yeah,
So you're still under 15.
Well, but with
No, no.
volunteer
Well, the-
firemen who do get paid for, each
Response time.
response time, you get paid a certain amount. So there's a chance that they would be counted as employees, which means we have more than 15 employees.
Well, they made that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
really tried to get a
Clear
lot
as mud.
of explanation and talked with other towns and they're looking for it too, but
But also seeing as it is a pretty small line item,
yeah.
Yeah.
even at 1%,
At 1%.
Way better than the fine.
way better than the 5.
Yeah,
If you'd asked me, I would have said 1%. Not that you did.
Right, this is one of those don't tangle with the tax man things, so let's be safe and not sorry.
And the figure represented by Kevin is retroed, the way the state did it from last October to this September. So that $3,000 figure is for that snapshot.
Yeah.
And then we move forward. this
With an
tells the
actual
state-
amount.
Withholding
Based on-
starting January 1st.
Right, depending on how you guys vote.
I mean, it doesn't make. My viewpoint is it doesn't make a lot of sense to withhold 0.5% of somebody's wages, especially when the majority, not the majority of the earnings, but the majority of the employees employees are the volunteer
Mhm.
firefighters, you're gonna withhold, go through and do that on payroll, 0.5% on each one of their
There,
$500 or something they might get. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
So they didn't make provisions for like part-time employees?
Nope,
Nope.
It's strictly,
Employees.
it's very
Yeah.
broad.
How many got
it's just employees,
is 1% of salary?
just the straight. That's the way I read it.
it seems like, I mean, I've been on the board for what, 2 years now, 3 going on
Yeah.
3rd, but whenever we get one of these state mandated that come in like the
Like at least.
Property tax-
Oh,
property
that
tax
was a good one.
freeze.
Yes, that was a
Like-
good one.
these things have been rolled out and it's like, oh, figure it out. And
There's not a lot of nuance sometimes up in Augusta.
yeah,
Yeah. Or every buildable lot is now 6 units,
mhm.
no matter where it is.
Not in Newcastle.
No, it's not, but it's not anywhere anyway, but we had to fight to get that.
We did.
Change back. It's still 3 units, which is also still sometimes crazy.
It just seems like this, we're just a lot better off putting the 1%, keeping it there. And just to make sure that you don't get audited or get fined for it.
Yeah.
There was also discussion, I don't think that it was put into the law, but there's also a discussion that maybe like workman's comp where you build it up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And if it's below your, like you have a healthy population that never takes sick leave, you may get a reduced amount anyway.
Yeah.
So.
If enough people complain about it, I'm sure it'll change.
Well, I'm sure it'll affect some businesses and larger towns, and cities and stuff like that before it'll affect us. And in theory, those places will be the guinea pigs rather than us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'll make the motion if we're,
Yeah, motion to authorize the town to cover the full amount of the state mandated paid family medical leave contributions.
I'll move that.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? No. All in favor? Passes 3-0. To
ACO contract.
yes, there we go. So we have 6-2 animal control officer contract. So we currently contract our animal control officer through the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, and we have a proposed contract here, which looks pretty much like it has the last few years.
See anything different.
We're gonna be signing it tonight. We'll be on time because we haven't been the last few years.
Hope that doesn't find it Monday.
Anybody have any questions on it? Looks pretty straightforward. We don't have any further discussion on this.
Motion.
We have a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the animal control officer contract and appoint the town manager to serve as the advisory.
So move.
I'll second.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Passes 3-0. And now we're down to 7A FY 25 13 AP warrant totaling $680,831.49.
Move that.
I will second that.
That was how much?
680,
831.
831.
Okay.
And here's the vast majority of this is capital roads.
The
That was over
completion-
300,000.
The completion of Academy Hill Road, Kavanaugh Road, and Hillcrest Road.
File contract bills that came in. Provider, but it looks like quite a handful of provider agencies were due. or
Yep,
Are due at the end of the year.
Yep.
Let's see anything too out of the ordinary than just the amount is pretty sizable.
End of the year bills.
Yep. Do we have a motion to,
Yeah, we already.
oh, we already did that, yep. We have no further discussion, all in favor? This is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Town manager report.
So Kevin asked me to share some information that he emailed about on December 17th. And it was under what's happening this week. It says, when George left, I asked Jim, our assessor's agent, to assist with any E911 addressing needs. Of course, Jim jumped in and started a property by property check comparing our Trio database to that of the state E911 data. Given the turnover of our addressing officers and code officers in the past 10 years or so, Jim felt it was really important to review the databases. As you know, the state E911 system is the basis for Lincoln County Dispatch to bring first responders when a party calls 911. This week, Jim finished this project and found 53 anomalies comparing with the two systems. These differences included missing addresses, mislocated addresses, among other issues. He's corrected those errors, and it would be prudent to review these databases every couple of years going forward. There's that. We have completed a stack of permits that have been filing in since just after Thanksgiving. I think Kevin says we're up to 72 or 73 building permits. Might be another one coming in before the end of the week. Half of them have come in since we lost our code enforcement officer, making it rather busy fall season. And we did submit a community action grant for a battery backup system, lending battery program, and some outreach communications efforts, including maybe a new website. The RFP we're working on for the rooftop solar will include a request to price out the battery backup system and look to see if we have a company install it, if the grant is approved. We are still working on that RFP, but it should be done next week. Next, we are focused on finalizing the Aid to the Firefighters grant for SCBA equipment. And I know that Kevin did get that done with Casey, so that is wonderful. And he said the gear was for 160,000. There was something else that said 150, but today he said 160. So I don't know if it's just rounding up on that figure. So that's great. We got that grant out there. We don't know if we're approved. The docks were removed from the water. I know Kevin went down and helped Andy remove those. So that was great. He said but they only had two public works over in Damascotta, which is the town manager and one other person. So Kevin offered to go help the town manager of Damascotta. We are getting the planning board members signed up with new emailing addresses and Chromebooks so that they can be ready, which I understand you have them. There you go. And that will help with FOA requests and keeping their personal information personal. And I think that is it.
Oh, I'll just comment that I met the woman that was hired to do the road
Oh, yes.
inventory and assessment. She's
Yes.
very nice.
Yes, she is.
I told her that we needed a new town clerk, so
Yeah, her name is.
she didn't run
Kara.
away. Yes, yeah. Just if you see her out and about, say, all right.
We know where the backup batteries are gonna be stored.
Kevin would know,
Just curious
you know.
whether they were gel cells or acid.
Louis, I think they were gonna storm at your house.
Yeah, I don't know. They're probably not lead acid. They're probably lithium.
A vast majority, I mean, at least for size, a lot of size constraint with
Yeah.
doing lead, they
Yeah.
take a lot.
A lot of them.
They're talking gel cells.
I don't think they're the gel ones, but I think they're, you know, I think they're not the big ones. You can pick them up like a suitcase and carry it around.
Wow.
It's really intended, I think, the idea is to just maybe a light or two and your refrigerator. So that your food doesn't spoil.
Get if you have the means to be able to get your boiler. It's
Yeah, maybe
small,
that
that's usually a
small.
small load. that
Yeah,
If you can keep that going in the winter, it's
Right.
huge.
I will use it.
yeah.
I do not intend.
And so we did file manager report. We have future agenda items that are in the works. Reviewing and approving the updated recall of elected officials ordinance and the fish water agreement, which those have both been in front of us all.
Yep.
already. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that over the next few meetings. We don't have executive sessions, so without abstention, move to adjourn. Good. Meeting is adjourned.
Well done,
We are adjourned.
7:48.
Gosh.
I
Excellent.
need you guys